So super useful. So my name is Bimbo Ogundare, daughter of TJ and Dupes, sister of 4 siblings. The very first one is daughter of the Most High, before the rest. Um, Wife of Tiwalokwe and mother of Farandara, business leader, sister, friend. And it's amazing to be in the room with you guys and just talk about, I guess, things that women understand around business, around career, around family, around personal life. Yeah. My topic is negotiating your worth. And I made a few notes. So again, it was supposed to be a small group, but yeah, it's turned out to be a big group, which is great. I think it's still intimate, so we'll make the most of this time. In thinking about negotiating your worth, I think a few things come to mind. First, as women, I think this topic is super important because a lot of times we seem to underestimate ourselves. We seem to, there's all sorts of nomenclature, especially imposter syndrome. And it's a wild misalignment to me when I see how we characterize ourselves versus who we actually are and what we do. I mean, whether you're a business owner or a career person, you can probably tell the difference between, and I don't know, okay, there's only one guy in the room, so maybe he has to close his ears. You can probably tell the difference between when you work with a guy and when you work with a lady. We're ambidextrous. We can do 500 things at the same time. We're resilient. We chest everything and move on. You have just had a bad day, you've been in traffic for 4 hours, you've gotten to work, you have to change your pad, and then you go and face one boss that is breathing down your neck. And you still bring your A game. And then you get home, and your mother is reminding you about this one contribution she has to make next week. And your brother is in university, and one auntie is happy that you've gotten work in Lagos, so she's calling you to greet you. You know what that greeting is going to turn out to be in 2 months' time, but she's still greeting you, And you're chesting all of that, and you're showing up every day. Your makeup is intact, your hair is lit, and you're smiling, and you're getting things done. But if you stop and think about the self-talk, if you think about what's going on in your head, you're probably thinking, should I be here? Am I able to do this? Can I pull it off? When would they catch me? All this what I'm doing, I'm winging it. When would they catch me? But you're still the same person showing up every day and doing it regardless. So, one thing that I think in a room full of women we should acknowledge is who we are and what we do versus that nonsense self-talk in your head. You need to call it. You need to say, who said? Yeah? And again, that's why it's super important. People that don't have God, I don't know how they do it. I have no idea how they do it. Because some things is only God that can just help you and see you through. So what I think is super useful, what I know for sure, and I'll be sharing some things I know for sure. One of the things I know for sure is you have to replace that voice in your head with the voice of God. What does God's word say about me? You don't have to believe it. Just keep winging it until you believe it. Just keep winging it until you believe it. One day it will all fall in place. Yeah? Okay. So step back to the matter at hand. I have 4 points here around how you can negotiate your self-worth, your worth rather. But I think the trajectory has moved to, first of all, assess your self-worth. So your self-worth, first of all, is what do you believe you're worth? right? And that has to do with how you see yourself, the voices in your head, and how you show up. There's a difference between, so you give a guy and a lady a task to do. The guy has no idea how to do it. But he's going to go in there and say, let's start. The lady has 80% of an idea around how to go about it, but the 20% is still unclear. And she goes in there saying, how do we start? Yeah? So you have to be aware that the way you see yourself is apparent. You may think it's not apparent. It's apparent. And that's why when you show up to conversations around how much should I be earning? What is the duration of this contract? What are the terms? What are the benefits? You have to step into a place where you first of all believe that you deserve it. You deserve a significant amount. Because if in your head you're saying, hey, let them just give me 200K. And then, the conversation says there's 180K on the table. You're going to default to 180K. But if you go in there saying, look, I've been to Polytechnic of so-so-so, University of so-so-so, I've done summer internships, I've done, my monthly expenses are 320K. The minimum I should get here is 350K because I'm a learner. Someone offers you 180K. You're going to come from the position of, I know my worth first. This is the base. And then we can talk about more, right? But if you go in there with the voices in your head that are, questioning whether you should be there or not, it will show up, whether you like it or not. So, the very first thing, aside from, and we've moved already to negotiating compensation, that can be at the start of, a gig or a job or during. Most people don't think about during. They only think about at the beginning, and then they think, promotion is a natural progression. It's not. If you are on a role and you are developing yourself and you bring more to the role than is required, then you should have a conversation with your manager. It may be at, a milestone. It may be at the end of the year. It may be mid-year. It may be when you've just closed a large job and, you can discuss a bonus on the back of that. But let it be that you're constantly thinking, how am I adding value here? And how should that value trickle down to me? There is the box of HR where they've told you, look, promotion is every 4 years in this place. And, at the end of every year, you get a 10% raise. That is what it is. That's conditioning. You can always have a conversation, right? But they have to say that to everybody so that nobody keeps disturbing the organization. Yeah? But you can always have a conversation with your line manager. But again, you have to be great at what you do. You have to be amazing at what you do in order to have that conversation. Because if you're not amazing at what you do, then you may just trigger the person, and the person may say, you that I'm managing. So what can you do to give yourself an edge? You can invest in high-value skills. What are those skills? How many of us are first daughters here? First daughters. Super. So first daughters have natural leadership skills. Yeah, you guys are the Ada of the family. You command everybody else to, do what they need to do when they need to do it. And usually that translates to other areas of life where you're able to more naturally lead teams. The ability to lead a team is something that you need to learn, even when you are part of a team. Because whether you're a career person or you're running your own business, you will need to lead a team. You will need to set a vision. You will need to get people aligned behind that vision and willing to move and execute that vision with you. Yeah? So leadership skills critical. If you're not an Ada and you don't have natural leadership skills, there are places where you can go to learn. You can go to Coursera. They have free courses. I think there's LinkedIn as well. If you pay for premium, that's maybe an extra 2K or 3K per month. There's a suite of learnings that you can go to there, and leadership and personal leadership, I think, is part of them, right? Otherwise, just take your Gemini on your phone and Google personal leadership tools free, and you can get a handful. and then start to engage. So that's one thing you can do. There are other skills that are critical to your profession. So we have a lawyer here. You know, if you were going to get ahead of your pack, what one skill would you need to learn today? What sort of law do you practice? Corporate law. Okay. So aside from the time that you have to put in and the cases and, you know, the experience that you have to build, is there any structured learning that you can take on to just differentiate yourself within your team? Yes. Okay.
So you have learnings. So now they have learnings that they give you to create a niche.
Okay.
So you can take advantage of it. So even in corporate law. Sorry. So even in corporate law, there are different areas. So it depends on which sector you're working. Okay. Um, so currently, I was working in a finance company, and so we now moved to export. So that's transactions. Yes. So it was. So it's a shift. It was a shift. So so I had to move from more or less like a banking lawyer to a transactional lawyer, and there are different legal skills that you desire for both areas. So the due diligence are basically different. The legal risks are different when you're exporting and when you're doing trade finance.
Have you given some thought to if I need to move forward significantly over the next 1 year, what structured learning do I need to do?
Yes, but
No, not but, and
okay. So okay, so yes, and so I do a lot of AI learnings because most of my colleagues are AI people. So you can do, I sit most times trying to see where I am. So basically, my chat GPT talks, actually drafts anything like I would be the one drafting it. So, yes. So over time, I do quarterly, monthly really, to say where am I, where do I need to go in the next 3 months in this area. Yeah.
so you have a personal development plan. Yes, essentially, you're following it. Okay. So I hope a personal development plan, however informal, is something that every career person has here. Because if you're not benchmarking yourself either against your peers or yourself of yesterday, then you're already behind. You know, a lot of people say, I didn't come to Lagos to sell granuts, or count bridges. So a personal development plan is let me share something with you. If you're not actively taking your future into your hands, best believe that all the people around you are. And it's not going to show up now. It's going to show up in 5 years' time. So please make sure every career person here, you have to have your personal development plan and you have to be on it. If you're not taking it seriously, 2 years, 3 years, you're fine. It's all vibes. 5 years' time, you start to see the difference. Yeah? And because of time, I'll just take one last thing. Your visibility and your personal brand. So your visibility and your personal brand is something that you do have to take seriously. In this day and age, everybody is out there. Everybody that wants to be is out there. But I find that a lot of people have not as much depth as is required. Because there's democracy of platforms, anybody and everybody goes out, says anything. But there are people that are watching. Employers are watching. Employers are watching. They know the difference between people that are just, putting two-liners out there versus someone that is a subject matter expert and really thinking about how to get better in one space or the other. So I encourage you to really think about your personal branding and build depth in one thing. if not a lot of things. We're in an age where attention spans are so short and everybody wants to do everything. But the people that I find that make a difference are those that know one thing very well. You still know everything, but you know one thing really well. Like, they can wake you up in the middle of the night, ask you about this one thing. I have a partner that started to be very serious about cybersecurity about 10 years ago, when cybersecurity was not a thing. When cybersecurity really took off 4 or 5 years ago, he was already a guru in that space. And he was so good that he would walk into banks and ask them, hey, what is the strength of your network? And they'll say, oh, my network is great. Call your MD. He'll sit down there. He'll hack it in front of them. And then they'll be forced to give him the job to go and hack-proof it. Yeah? So think about that one thing. I always ask people, I say, what's your superpower? What's your superpower? Think about it and determine what your superpower will be. Your superpower may be, I mean, if you're on vibes, your superpower may be that you know every type of tea in the world. That is something, that is a conversation starter. So even if it's not something technical, it's something that you can bring to every conversation and hold your own from start to finish. It makes you memorable. Yeah? So think about what your superpower is, hone it, and use that to build your personal brand. I think the last thing, I'm very mindful of time, is don't be a homebody. Whatever your industry is, I know Lagos is stressful. We like to stay at home over the weekend, sleep, rest. Don't be a homebody. This is great that, this is how you're spending your Saturday morning. And I think it's a good avenue to make a few friends as well. I've made a few friends today. But in getting out there is where there's something called the power of weak ties. You have your strong ties. Your strong ties are those that you're comfortable with, you have conversations with, you meet, in a large room, you're able to gravitate towards them so that nobody says, oh, this person is lonely, I'm not talking to anybody. The weak ties are those that are somebody knows somebody, and you're able to make that connection in order to drive value somewhere. The best things, I find that the best return on investment is being able to connect your weak ties. If you have 10 people on your speed dial that don't know you very well, but you know of and know how they can help somebody else achieve something else, the value of that chain is very important. And if you keep cultivating it, you expand your network organically. Yeah? So thank you.
Thank you so much.